I get a lot of questions about COOs and what their role is and what their responsibilities are. Since I've held the position in two different companies, I can talk a little bit about what my job is like and some of the things that I think about. I've held the role of CEO as well as COO, and I can talk to how I think about the position. The thing that I think about as COO, the thing that goes through my mind every day is risk mitigation. My job as COO is to make the most efficient organization I can, but I'm always thinking about everything that can go wrong in the company. I'm thinking about protecting the shareholders, the employees, how to get the most out of our product for our customers, and how to do everything we can on behalf of our customers to keep them coming back again and again. But I'm also thinking about bigger risks. What can go wrong? Environmental risks, changes in laws, changes in employee laws, problems with employees within an organization, anything that can possibly go wrong. So my job is to think about all of those things ahead of time and put a plan into action long before anything happens. I can't tell you how many times I'll be talking to a CEO about what it is that they think matters in a company, or even partners in a partnership. And I sit there and talk about the priorities of senior management and how they need to be thinking about their future. And they're not at all thinking about the risks in the company, only to end up living that nightmare of the company suddenly going down the tubes because of something they didn't consider. There are companies, for instance, that don't think about how to differentiate themselves from their competitors. And they end up in a situation where they're a commodity and they don't know how to get out of it. I consider that to be partly the fault of the CEO as well as the COO. Your job is to keep some of those things from happening. And so when I look at the role, I'm thinking far ahead of where the company is on that day. I'm looking at the horizon, I'm looking at all the things that can potentially go wrong, and I'm doing everything to keep those things from destroying the company. And so those risks are real. And I sit there and do what if scenarios. So what if this happens? What would I do? What if this scenario occurs? What would I do? And I take all of those things to heart. I think about the efficiency of the organization, how we can do things financially so that we can improve the bottom line without killing the rest of the company. I think of balancing four things, and I talk about this a lot. It's the shareholders, the employees, the customers, and the suppliers. Those four things. The best companies have a way of keeping those things in balance. And you think, oh, well, you don't have to worry about the supplier. Yeah, you do. Because I know firsthand situations where a supplier who's treated badly won't give preferential treatment to even a large customer because there's nothing in it for them. So there is something to working with a supplier and having a great relationship with your supplier that can help propel the company. I know firsthand of companies that have bad relationships with their customer who they are vending a product into, who treats them badly, and they in turn say, well, we're not going to give them the first release of something because that's not going to go well. They give it to somebody else instead, who gives them an advantage. And so you want to have these good relationships everywhere you go. You want to have great relationships with your shareholders. Otherwise, they're not going to put in more money when you need it. You need a great relationship with your employees because you want them to be there no matter what, and you want them to build their careers and become experts at your business. And so the same thing with customers, customer loyalty, brand value, all of those things are things that you need to be thinking about. And as a COO, you have to be going through every single department, thinking about how you can improve that and what you can do going forward. I've run into situations where COOs are put into an environment where they're dealing with B-player senior leadership in a partnership, and they have to work around that. And that's a really big challenge. That becomes a very difficult situation because they have to still execute on all of those other points while working with a crappy senior team. And that's a tough position to be in. And so the COO needs to think about how they're going to bring people up in the organization, how they're going to get employees to rise to a higher level so that by the time They're the senior leaders. They aren't confronting this problem anymore. So a COO has to think very long term about the company, not what it's going to look like just 3 months from now, but what the company is going to look like in 10 years. What are the competitive threats that they need to be considering? What's happening on the horizon, how their industry is going to change, all of those things. It isn't just up to the CEO. The CEO has the long-term strategic vision of the company, but the COO has to execute on all of these other objectives in the company. So think of them as the person that's running the boat, and they've got all of these dials that they have to look at and check to see how they're doing, and they need to know what's ahead and what could potentially go wrong, and then discuss that with the CEO so that the CEO has that information and can think about that in the long-term strategic vision. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to follow us and know where we are, you can find us in a bunch of places. We're on middlerock.com, which is our website. Up at the top, you'll see things for upcoming Zoom events that you can participate in. We bring in other speakers and we talk about entrepreneurship. You can also find me on Tom on Entrepreneurship on Quora, as well as Tom Nault on Quora. I also have a personal website, tomnault.com. You can find there, but I don't talk about business as much. So you can find us in all of those different places. And so we hope to hear from you. Write us, let us know what you think. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell when the next one is coming up so that you're notified. And thank you very much for being here.